All praises to Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai by Hashem Wadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Shalom, salutations to the hopeful elect that's fighting a good fight of faith and truth in sincerity and wholeheartedly. Shalom to the Akwath, which is the women believer. Shalom to you. All praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai. And look at this dude. Look at this Edomite, man. He looked through. Man, these people, I can't wait till they done away with. But anyways, prophecy, Matter of fact, let me see if I can pull this down a little bit farther. Matter of fact, let me see if I can do it like this real quick. The future of Europe's economy, all right? Because the thing is that
it is so abysmal.
Hold on. So the thing is that Europe and America, as is foretold in the scriptures, they're going to disassemble. They're going to have evil eye towards America. And it's about damn time. Because even going back in the time of the beginning of the Ukraine and the Russia fiasco, remember what the destroying of the Nord Stream, which is the pipeline that go from Russia to Germany, all right? And then Germany spread it out. That pipeline, it spread out to the western part of Germany. So America been destroying Europe's infrastructure by going to war with Russia and being Russia being an enemy to them. And remember, America is the head, so whatever the head say, the tail gotta follow. Wherever the head go, the tail gotta follow. So what's happening is that this is what you call miry clay. All right. The stone and the miry clay, which I'm eventually get, but I'm gonna let him talk a little bit.
I think that when we look at the leadership of Europe, it is so abysmal and so desperate because, everything, they are, if you like, they're at odds with China. The trip to China that von der Leyen just made was a disaster. It was cut short. The Chinese just sent her home. They're at odds with Trump. I mean, Trump does not like the Europeans generally, or von der Leyen.
And you could tell that because why is he putting tariffs on his own allies? Matter of fact, that remind me of this scripture actually. I think it's 7:20. It said, and one of the 10 horns that were in his head, and of the other which came up, before whom 3 fell, which is the Spanish, the French, and the British. Out of the British came America. Even of that horn that had eyes and a mouth that spake very great things. And ain't this horn speaking? Especially from 2020 into now. They basically said, listen, ain't no God. Science is God. Artificial intelligence is God. Oh, God is old fashioned. This is the new way. Can't get more blasphemy than that. And it says, who was more stout than his fellows? Look up that word stout. Because when you actually look up the word, for I don't exit out of all of this. That's why I need a computer. I do videos on my phone. But to get out of all that, I need to have like multiple tabs up. But anyways, when you look up the word stout, one of the definitions for stout is uncompromisable. And the reason that they're uncompromisable because they're very proud and they think, the best things is sliced bread. Best things is the color TV. All right. So it's Rob in the Hebrew. So Captain, Chief, Great Lord, Master, Stout. Great figure of power. Let me see what it say. Great. I just want to see if it get any other definitions. Because this is so figurative of power and influence. All right. So and that's what European Union, they used to look to America as. Hey man, we got to follow America because they the head right now. If we just listen to what they say, we gonna be good. But as you seeing, what it say in Jeremiah? The nations is mad now. Babylon have been a golden cups in Yahweh's hand. That's the definition that we just read. Great power of influence. All right. That made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine. Therefore, the nations are mad. So they took on to the philosophy. They took on to the illusion of democracy. They took on to this funny paper money. All right. And now they mad. They ready to do something now. It finally came to a head.
At odds with Iran on this promoting snapback. And they are in a deep fiscal, economic, financial crisis. At the end of the day, all of this is about money. The conflict about Trump, the tariffs, money. It's about keeping the dollar hegemony, which is so important for the United States facing this debt crisis.
It's even deeper than that. It's actually not about keeping the dollar as the hegemony. It's literally about crashing it, because the things that Trump is doing, he's actually, because, all right, so back in 2023, you can't find this nowhere. At least I tried. I haven't tried lately, though. Maybe I could look a little deeper. But it was something called Operation Sandman. And that's when all the nations was going to drop the dollar at once and the economy was going to crash. And that sounds so true, because the scripture says that these nations have give their mind and strength and their heart unto, the whore in Revelation 17. So all these nations have committed fornication with her, and they still in bed with her. And crazy that they still trust these devils, but they got to fulfill prophecy. All right. I always feel like, the scriptures say that he calls of all, right? So it don't matter what status you are. But I always look at it like this, like, you have to just imagine. Number one is because prophecy coming to pass. But just to give some details with it. You think this devil ain't promising them, like, listen, we're going to reset the system. All right. We're going to reset the system. And it's like a new start. All right. More money gonna come to us, the heads, talking about the nations. Because here's the thing, the people of the nations is going to suffer, but the heads, like the kings of the earth, as the scripture call them, they're not suffering. All right. But the people of those nations are going to suffer. But all right, so now you're putting all of these people that's in your country in subjection. They got to take the chip. All right. You rule over them. All right. You got more power over them now than you ever would have. I'm talking like how the devil may be talking. Like, to even get these nations to be on board with the microchip thing. But anyways, the Lord is going to throw a fork in y'all plans, because the Lord is in control. So it says, the king's heart, see, that's plural. The king's heart is in the hands of Yahweh, and as the rivers of water, he turneth it whatsoever he will. So they could all be in agreement one day and be at each other's throats the next day, because the Lord will rile up a person's spirit. It's a scripture in Ezekiel 38, so they shall think an evil thought. That evil thought is pressing the button, man.
That they have. And so you would imagine that they would take this into consideration. But look what happened at that meeting in Scotland. I mean, it was quite striking. People, saying it was a complete humiliation of Europe, which is true, which it was. But not for one portion of Europeans. For most of us, it's a disaster. There will be, the standards of living of Europeans are going to suffer even more. The absolute idiocy of sort of having cut off from Russian energy, cheap Russian piped energy.
And so when it comes down to it, they just don't agree. All right. He even mentioned Russia. They was getting cheap, oil and gas from Russia, and America cut that out. Guess where they have to get their gas and oil from now? America. And they charge them more, because America wanted to always continue. Always want to keep the European Union in subjection. See, Esau is scared. That's what you got to understand. So he felt like this is the best way to always keep the European Union in subjection. And all of this is fluff and puff, a circus, because you even had Donald Trump talking about he was disappointed in the European Union for not putting enough money into their military. But you don't want them to be strong, because if they were strong, they'll be able to take you out. So no, that's not. But it sounds good to the people, you know. So let's get to it. And the fourth beast shall be strong as iron. This is talk about Rome. All right. Because we in Rome 2.0. For as much iron breaketh in pieces and subdue all things, as iron that breaketh all these shall be broke in pieces and bruised. And whereas you sawest the feet and toes part of the potter's clay, part of iron, and the kingdom shall be divided. Ain't that the truth? Even just from the Democrats and the Republicans, that's already division right there. Even though they all playing the same game, but what a real leader will understand, matter of fact, not a real leader, a wise leader will understand, is that the people that's in good spirits, that's what makes a kingdom flourish. But you got blue states and red states and people fighting against each other. You're fighting against your own allies. You're putting tariffs on your own allies, the European Union. So you divided. And if you want to just make it even deeper, Edomites are divided. Even in America, as I just mentioned about, the red, blue states. So the European Union, United States, and Western Europe. So you're just divided on all sides. And it says, but there should be in of it the strength of iron, which is the military. But the military is going to disassemble because y'all don't agree. For as much as you saw as the iron mixed with miry clay, and the toes of the feet were part iron and a part clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong, partly broken. And the partly broken part is your political and your monetary. That's shaky right now. So you still got military might, even though that's the scripture said, let the weak say I'm strong, because America is on the decline even when it comes to militarily, but you're really on the decline when it comes to politically. You don't have that political power anymore, and you don't have the monetary power as you used to. And whereas you saw it's the iron mixed with miry clay, they should be mingling themselves together with the seed of men, but they should not cleave to one another, just like this video is going into. So many disagreements within the European Union and NATO. And it says they should not cleave one to another, even as iron is not mixed with clay. So I'm going to end it right here. Just show you a little quick hit on what's going on in the world. This is stuff that you won't see on the main news. And the 10 horns, which you saw, is upon the beast, which is the allies of NATO, the European Union. These shall hate the whore, shall make her desolate and naked. So the Lord is giving you the conclusion of the matter, what's eventually going to happen. Shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. For the Most High have put it in their hearts to fulfill his will. That's the point. Throwing a monkey wrench in y'all plan. All right. So you have, I'm talking about the kings of the earth. They still have their own agenda of what they think, how things is going to play out. They get on the mainstream news and act like they're beefing, but it's all a script. But yes, Europe is suffering, but they're riding along with America. And real quick, just in case, somebody new watching this. This still applies. And the beast that was, and is not, even he is the 8th, and is of the 7th, and going to perdition. That's talking about Rome coming back as America, and then it's going to eventually be destroyed. And the 10 horns which you saw are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet. Where I'm at. Oh, 13. Well, I'm gonna start to read 12 anyway. And the 10 horns which y'all saw are 10 kings which have received no kingdom as yet. And this is what they're hoping. This is what they're hoping for. That's why they still rolling with them. Okay. But receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. These have one mind and shall give their power and strength unto the beast until what? 17. Until the words of the Most High should be fulfilled. So yeah, so right now they still together. They have one mind. They think that okay, the economy gonna crash. We're gonna get more power, but no, the Lord's gonna throw a fork in your plan, man. And it says, and the woman which you saw is the great city which reigneth over the kings of the earth. We should know that's America. But this is the point, okay? All right. Damn it. I was trying to highlight it, but I'm just going to read it. And shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. That is what's going to happen to America. So all praises to Yahweh Bashim Al Shai. Prophecy is coming to pass. And seek ye out the Lord while he may be found, because time is not what it used to be. Time is ticking. Call Halayim La Yahweh Bashim Al Shai. Shalom.